Hey guys, good morning. This is my tag video. Don't get alarmed if you heard a rustling noise like this. It's just me flipping through my notes because there are lots of questions and it's hard to remember all. But first of all, before we get into any of the questions, a lot of you guys don't know my given name. My name is Eva, E-V-A. I don't mention it in my video because it feels awkward to mention it after the hey guys. I was tagged by the lovely Blanca Acosta. She's got her own channel and has an awesome pergola filled with amazing orchids. Hi Blanca! Thanks for including me in the tag. Okay, so now let's get down to business right away. Question number 1. What part of the world are you growing your orchids in? Well, I currently live in southern New England in the littlest state of the Union called Rhode Island, United States of America, which I believe is a USDA Zone 6A. However, some nurseries that send me orchids or some plants show me as in Zone 6B, so, and the other ones is I'm Zone 6, so it's one or the other depending on who you ask. I am originally from the Philippines. Mabuhay! The Philippines is the orchid kingdom. I lived there until my Prince Charming whisked me away here to the land of milk and honey. Oh, that's so beautiful. And question number 2. How long have you been growing orchids? Do you remember which was your very first orchid? Do you still have it? I believe it's been more than 10 years, but only in the last 3 years have I been expanding my collection and showing them on YouTube. My very first orchid was a gift from my hubby. I remember it so perfectly clear. It was a purple phalaenopsis from a big box store. One of those just add ice orchids. And yes, I still have it, and it's been converted to the semi-hydroponic growing method. It's seen better days, but it's still alive. And after the first one, he bought me more, like white falls, the stripes falls, and they're all still alive. Then thanks to YouTube, I added more genre on my collection. Question number 3. What first got you into the orchid growing hobby? Well, I love beautiful things and I became naturally drawn to beautiful flowers like these orchids. Because growing up in the Philippines, my mother had a small plant nursery and I was her little helper. I fetched buckets of water from my uncle's rope-drawn deep well. There was no such thing as water pipes there back then, and I was responsible for watering all the plants. My mother grew a lot of adeniums, which we called Bangkok. She liked to propagate them from early yearing and then sold them. She also had a variety of croton plants, kalanchoy. English-speaking people call him kalancho, but we call him kalanchoy, etc. I helped take care of all of them all. My grandparents on my mother's side were farmers, and my grandparents from my father's side, they always have patch of veggies in their garden that we enjoyed so much. And she took care of somebody's orchard as well, and she took me around with her when we pick fruits. So it's kind of like in my DNA, right? So I'm not really new to orchids or gardening in general because I grew up with them. I've seen a lot of dendrobium falls that were covered with eggshells, which didn't belong to me. They were all around the neighborhood. But now I have my own collection. You can see a lot of them. And the only challenge with them is the cold weather. Here in New England. I have a garden outdoors, and I have spring, summer, and autumn flowers, but I get bored in the winter because there's no color. So by growing orchids indoors, I have flowers and colors in the winter. So I'm not bored anymore. Yeah. It's warm in here in my in this room, but in my orchidarium it's just cold. There's no heating in there yet, but okay, it's let's move on to question number 4. Let's span this out in here. Here's question number 4. What kind of growing space do you have? Windowsills, grow room, greenhouse, outside, etc. I have 4 locations, 5 if you count the basement for my citrus trees, and I come to remember I do have 1 cymbidium hanging in there. But first, growing is the outside. My favorite space to grow, but can only be during the summer. Next is my closed-in back porch, also known as the orchidarium. I'll show you that one. There's my avocado in there. I'll show you about the shakiness. That's my avocado and all that. Let's see if we can go there. It was cold, no heater in here. Last night we dropped down to 9 degrees Fahrenheit below freezing. And the day before that, it was 13 degrees Fahrenheit below freezing. It was really cold, but in here, in this room, thanks to the double up of the bubble wrap, this one here would have extra, at least 10 to 20 degrees warmer than the outside temperature. 46 in here right now, but this is my my first grow room in here, because the orchid start from here, then to go inside, you know, from the outside to here, and then the inside, in the deep inside. Yeah. So there's some more in here. Yeah, so this is just my porch, and I nicknamed this orchidarium. Yeah. And next is our dining room. We've been here. Yes. Let's close the door first. First, I continue. Look at all that stuff. This is my our dining room has been completely taken over by plants, so there's no hope for any gatherings in here anymore. And my third one, let me see. I should post this one. We have to walk. We already discussed the first, second, and third. This is the fourth one, final one. This is my dining table in the area adjacent to my living room. Host orchids and African violets. Look, these are my catasetums. Oh, I do have one lecaste in there. Sorry about the backlighting. So wonder where we eat now? In front of the TV, of course. The orchids kick us out of our dining tables. Where else is there? Yeah. And we are back in the orchidarium. Question number 5. How many different types or genre of orchids do you grow, and what are they? If I'm not mistaken, I have 21. And here's the list. Lycaste, Maxillaria, Catacine type orchids, Zygopetalums, Epidendrum, Coryanthes, Tanhopia, Cymbidiums, Gongora, Miltoniopsis, Vandaceous type orchids, Inseclia, Phalaenopsis, and its species fall and hybrid or complex hybrid, something like that. Cattleya and its alliance, Oncidium and its alliance, Dendrobium and its alliance, Paphiophyllum, Angraecum, Myrmecophila, and Grammatophyllum. Okay, question number 6. Do you actually know how many orchids you have? Roughly. Okay. Well, I'm a little embarrassed about this, but I have well over 200. However, if you ask hubby, he'll say it's more like 300. Yeah. Okay, question number 7. I'm adjusting the light of the camera. Yeah, like that. Bright outside. Question number 7. What would be the one thing that you could say was your top orchid gripe or peeve? When I buy an orchid from the grocery store and find out later that there's 2 different kinds of mediums in the pot, but they're not mixed, well, it's the lazy way of repotting because they did not take out the old sphagnum moss. Instead, they just stuffed it in the bigger container and put bark medium around it. I get so annoyed because when I unpot them, the roots are often dead. Then I go directly into rescue mode. Man, that is so much more effort than it should be to bring a new orchid into my collection. God, I hate it. I hate it. You know, I hate that type of people who sells orchids like that. Let's go down in it. This is my Blara. Okay. All right. Question number 8. Let's hurry this up. What are your favorite places to buy orchids and least favorite? Well, it all depends on what kind of orchids I'm buying. For Dendrobium nobilis, I like to buy them from Yamamoto Dendrobiums. For all other types, it's really where I see them. Be it online, like Carmela Orchids, Orchids by Hauserman, Tropical Orchid Farms. Also, I like to buy them at an orchid shows because they're often in full bloom and are so beautiful. And sometimes fragrant too. Or when I personally visit nurseries. My least favorite place to buy an orchid is the grocery store. God, that she's fragrant, that one. Alright, I think I answered that question. We'll go to question number 9. Alright, where's the question number 9? What is the worst orchid advice you've ever been given? And did you take that advice? Okay. Not advice from a person per se, but advertising on the orchids themselves where it says just add ice. Because I'm lazy, I admit that. And it saves me time. The answer is yes, I tried that even though I know orchids are tropical plants. However, in fairness, I wasn't really serious about orchids at that time because I had a lot of other houseplants also. I changed my tactics when I started seeing that the roots turned black. They're alive, but it's just the colored black, and I didn't like it. And also, hubby took me took me to Trader's Joe for the first time and bought me my very first Cymbidiums. That piqued my interest, and I was amazed that I can buy orchids here in the cold climate besides Phalaenopsis. That was exciting moment in my life right there. That's when and also that's when I got the idea of seriously growing orchids to have color in the house during winter months. And the rest is history. Okay, number 10. I want to make this video less than 20 minutes. But okay, oh, it's so cold in here. Like I said, it's 48 now. Okay. 10. Out of the orchids you own, which are your favorites? Oh, which are your 5 favorites? Try and include the actual orchids in your video if you can, or pics of the bloom. Okay. Well, it's like deciding who's your favorite niece or nephew. It just can't be done. They're all special and I love them equally. Wink, wink. The one I like to look at most are the ones that are in bloom. They get the most attention until it's the next one's turn to catch my eye. They all take turns basking in my favor. Like this one here I keep showing you guys. It's a Belara Marfitch, Howard's Dream. You know. And that one's in bloom. She's fragrant. That's Phyllis Glow. Yeah. She's fragrant. She's up high right there. Hard to catch her. And she is adorable and fragrant as well. And that Cattleya almost open, but you know, not blooming yet. Almost open. It's magic. There's another Belara, Tahoma Glacier. And I focus on that. I showed this one earlier. The Dancing Lady. Yeah. These are the ones blooming right now, so therefore they're my favorites. She won't focus there. And she's the last one I'm going to show you in the bloom. Yeah. Okay. Where were we? So almost 20 minutes. Where were we? Okay. Let me see. I'll stop here. My arms are tired now. Okay. Let's stop here. Okay. Have you got an orchid related story? Funny, interesting, or sad? Well, not my story really, but my hobbies. From his point of view, he thought it was so cool when at an orchid show early this year, I was talking to someone about something, and another visitor to the show recognized my voice and came over to see me. She knew me as the Lady Green Thumb from YouTube, and for a moment, he thought it was like I was a celebrity. But from my perspective, I actually felt kind of embarrassed and my face turned flushed because I'm really a shy person. But once I get to know you, I'm absolute chatterbox. And the only way to shut me up is to stuff food in my mouth. Is it too much information, guys? Alright. Okay, let's move on. Question number... We'll show you this Bertonia of mine. I put her in here and just so huge. Okay, stop digressing. Back in here. This is a beautiful view. Question number 12. What advice would you give someone about to start growing orchids and building up a collection? Well, don't! No, just kidding. For me personally and my experience, I would say think about space. Look at me. Well, look at me. My collection has driven us out of both dining areas, our porch, and much of the backyard. Think about what you want to collect and where you're going to put it. Over time, this can become a very expensive hobby. So you want to make sure you have the space and time to manage it so you're not throwing away money and effort. Again, for me, I have to think about buying a big greenhouse to reclaim our dining tables or even move to another state where I have more space and good weather to grow them outdoors. That's a big life change if you're really into seriously growing your own orchid collection. Focus, please. Yeah. But if you have control and only grow a handful of them, then a windowsill is just fine. One last thought. If you grow a sizable collection, you may think you own them, but in reality, they own you. Okay, I think, yeah, that's all 12 questions. So, the orchid tag rule is that I'm supposed to tag 2 more lovely people. Ladies, if you haven't been tagged already, then here's your tag, and you're it. Susana 1024 and Anna Flores the Orchids. Sorry for this tag, ladies. And I know you're both busy, but the orchid community would love to hear your stories too. Oh, but who am I kidding? For all orchid lovers, consider yourself tagged and feel free to tell us your stories. To wrap this up, I've really enjoyed taking a walk down the memory lane with this exercise, and I think you'll enjoy it too. Look forward to seeing your videos, guys. Bye!